What's up, DC Nation? Back to another DC Comics review, and today I'll be going with the Catwomen 8th Anniversary 100-page special. Now guys, this is a big book, 10 different stories, 10 writers, and 10 artists. So you have some actually big names like Paul Dini, you have Tom King, and you have different like Catwoman writers from like past years. So there's a lot to go over, but I'll try to make this video kind of short. It won't be too super long, but I'll still go in depth into these stories. But guys, if you'd like me to give a big thumbs up, new channel, make sure to subscribe so you miss my next DC Comics review. And yeah guys, your review, the Catwoman 8th Anniversary 100-page super spectacular #1 starts now. So the first story in this entire book is called Skin the Cat by Paul Dini. And you see pretty much Catwoman go against taxidermist, aka Garrett Riley, or pretty much vice versa. But you see him, and he's at like this zoo. She's pretty much going there. She fights off against him. That chapter, like a pretty cool fight, guys. Pretty dope. The art is conveyed very well. Like the art conveys the story at like a well-paced. Actually, the ending is very interesting. I like how they did that. Because I thought the ending, okay, she just beat him and then gets away, right? No, she kills him, alright? Spoiler alert. Actually, if you're watching this review, this can be all spoilers, right? But still, she kills him, and how he dies, but like the cat's like just jumping on him, I was like, wow. But pretty much like the captions show that pretty much cats have grace, but they also have power. Like, you shouldn't underestimate them. But I like how that was, but the problem I have with the story is it's a little too simple. I expected a lot more from Paul Dini. Like, still a good story, but it's one of the weaker in this entire book. So overall, I'm going to give this story a 7 out of 10. And yeah guys, let's get to the second story in this book. The second story on this list, we got pretty much Now You Can See Me, which is written by Ann Nocenti, and the art is by pretty much Robson Rocha. Now, I hope that I'm pronouncing the names right, but still, Ann Nocenti, I'm not a big fan of her writing. Like, I've read past stories that she's done on Catwoman. I think it was during, like, the New 52 or so, but I wasn't a big fan of her, honestly. Like, she was alright, like, her writing's, like, not terrible, but sometimes it's just not really interesting at all. Or sometimes, like, all over the place, and she tries to tackle too much story in, like, pretty much, a little amount of pages. And that's what she does here. Like, a lot is going on in the story, and some of it is interesting, but some of it just feels like, okay, you just brush past it, and you don't get that much details on it. But you see Catwoman, she's in her, pretty much, her Batman Returns costume. I thought that was pretty cool. I saw that reference. Like, the last time we saw that was actually in Tom King's run, and I always like when they do that. Because Catwoman's costume is good during the comics, but when she wears that Batman Returns costume, it looks dope. But guys, you see her pretty much go against this cop, fights off against him. There's some good action by Robson Rocha. He does a great job. He's actually probably one of my, not favorite artists, but he's up there. Like, he knows how to convey action very well, and his panels are very, like, interesting. But you see her fight off against this cop, and she beats him. It's a cool fight that spans, like, a matter of, like, 2 or 3 pages. And you have, like, a cameo of Penguin stuff, and you see, like, the security guard, this one girl, just watch this whole thing play out. So I like that. But by the end of the story, you don't get as much out of it. Like, yeah, there's little references like the Batman Returns costume. Oh, she fights off against a cop. Oh, you have Penguin. But the overall story doesn't come together very well. Like, if I have to describe the story, it's more, alright, Catwoman fights off against like a crooked cop in a way. The security guard is watching, and Penguin's like, that's another pretty much plan that I pretty much caused that was foiled by an idiot. That cop didn't do his job. But you have Catwoman, she just fights off against him. So that's good, I like the action, but the story itself isn't that well done. But yeah guys, overall, I'll give this story a 6 out of 10. It's okay, like the art's good, and the fight's cool, but the story itself is really weak. But yeah guys, let's get to the third story in this book. Now, the third story on this list is called Helena, and it's written by Tom King, and the art is by Michael Jan. Now guys, this story was probably my most anticipated, and you probably like Tom King, like you were excited for Tom King's storyline. Yeah, I actually was, because they DC teased this way back like a couple months ago with Catwoman being like pregnant, which I don't think they should have did that. They should have left that pretty much. We should not know about that. We should just found that out while reading this, because it made me think, alright, this could be in continuity, but I don't think this is in continuity at all. This feels like an Elseworld storyline, and it's actually more a continuation from Batman Annual #2. If you guys remember that storyline, it saw pretty much Batman and Catwoman, their relationship through the years up until they're old, and pretty much Bruce dies, well, yeah, he dies, and pretty much Catwoman, they had like the daughter, Helena, she came like the new Catwoman, and that was actually one of the best issues written by Tom King. It's really well done, run. And one of the reasons it's so good is it's out of continuity. Like, Tom King doesn't really do good in continuity because he screws up certain things. But when you put him out of continuity, he can do whatever he wants. He does a good job. But here, it shows pretty much Catwoman's pregnant. She's dealing with it. It has like the typical things, like she can't drink wine. She's throwing up. And Batman actually has like pretty much a bat bucket in his Batmobile she could throw up in, which I thought was actually pretty funny. But you see him fight off against all these villains. And one part that was kind of weird was like way into her pregnancy, like she has a big belly, she's still fighting off crime, which I was like, okay, I don't know if I can really go by that, but I'll still fight with it. Like, you see him fight off against like Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc, Joker, Two-Face, and the Joker's comment, he's like, wait, you two together and you have a baby? You must be joking. I like that. That was a good line. But you see her pretty much, she's like, I can't deal with this, Bruce. I can't be a parent. I'm not like you. I'm a thief. But Batman's like, no, you could do this. And you see her out like the baby. They have Helena. And then she pretty much takes care of this baby while Batman's out doing adventures. And one of the adventures that's referenced in this book is he's out the Spectre, which I really like that. I like that the Spectre's getting recognition. He got recognition in Detective Comics, got recognition in pretty much Justice League recently, and now he's getting recognition in this big 100-page special. I like that. I like DC's pushing this character. But you then end with, later on, back to pretty much Batman Annual number 2, and I'm pretty sure at the end of the story that Bruce is dead, it's back into that issue, and you pretty much have Catwoman or Selina talking to Helena like pretty much, you were my greatest gift, like you stole my heart, and that's how it ends. Like, she has a good relationship with her daughter. I like that. That was actually really good, and it's actually written very well. I like how Tom King did this, but the only thing is that it was out of continuity, it's nothing in continuity. I think DC should not release that image because it got you too excited. But still, Michael Jan's art is great. Like, the different action sequences where they fight out the villains is really cool. And I'm a big fan of Michael Jan. He's one of my favorite artists, and he does a great job here. Like, when he's like put with Tom King, they do a pretty good job most of the time. But overall, I would give this story an 8.5 out of 10. I actually really liked it. And if you really like that Batman Annual number 2, which is probably one of my favorite issues from the Tom King run, you know Tom King's run like pretty much derailed after the halfway point, but that's one of my favorite issues, and seeing it pretty much get continued was really cool. But yeah, guys, with that out of the way, let's get to the fourth story in this issue. The fourth story in this entire book is pretty much called Catwoman of Earth, and this is pretty much written by Jeff Parker. And guys, this story, it's alright, it's not the best. I know like some people are saying, oh, this is a really great storyline, this story like this book. I thought it was okay. Like, the art was really good. I really liked the art. The art was very interesting, it was creative, and it actually pushed the tone of the story very well. And I like seeing Catwoman in her like 60s costume. That was actually really cool. That was a good reference back to that TV show. But you pretty much see Catwoman fight off some aliens. Oh, she's protecting Earth, because pretty much these aliens show up. They're like, oh, Earth's defenseless, we'll take over. The Catwoman's like, nope, I'm here, I'll take you guys down. And it's a very simple, quick story. The action's good. And it shows that Catwoman, like, she shouldn't be messed with. Like, she can handle her own and actually protect people while also being a thief at the same time. But that was good. I like that. But it's not a very memorable storyline from me. Like, yeah, I'd be fine if this writer and artist actually did another story with Catwoman if it was just like a fun one. But in terms of like in-depth storylines, this isn't really it. But still, it's a fun storyline that I do recommend, and I'd give it a 7 out of 10. But yeah, guys, with the fourth story out of the way, let's get to the fifth story in this book. Now, the fifth story in this book is actually written and drawn by Liam Sharp. Now, I'm actually a big fan of Liam Sharp. He does great artwork. His writing isn't great, but it's not terrible. Like, there's artists who try to write and they'll do a good job. But Liam Sharp is not one of them. But this one is called A Cat of Nine Tails. And it pretty much shows Catwoman when she's on a hike, she's getting away, and she runs into an officer, or pretty much like security guard. And she pretty much tells him like 9 ways how the scenario can play out. She could kill him, he could team up with her, she could get away, and all these different like scenarios are very interesting, and it's conveyed well by Liam Sharp. And it's a very quick, simple storyline, but in this case, it works very well. It's actually probably my favorite in the book, and I really like it. Now, my problem is Liam Sharp's art isn't the best here. Like, I've seen better artwork. Like, I didn't notice it was Liam Sharp the first time I read this. I thought it was like another artist that was kind of similar to him. But seeing as it's him, I expected a little more in the art department. But in terms of writing, he did a great job here. So overall, I give this storyline an 8 out of 10. And yeah, guys, with the fifth story out of the way, let's get to the sixth story in this book. Now, the sixth story is called Little Bird, and guys, you see Selena, she's kind of like her year one costume, which I like the art here. The art actually looks really good. And you see interactions between her and Batman, which I really like that, because we don't see a lot of that in this book. You see more of those interactions like the Tom King storyline, but seeing it here in the year one version, it's actually really cool. Now, you see her trying to steal like this religious relic in a way that was actually with her and her foster parent way back. So she's pretty much paying tribute to her foster parent, and you have flashbacks of that, how their interactions went, and it's alright, but it feels like the story is tackling a little too much. You have the Batman interactions, you see her in like a gray costume, getting that costume, one of her very first costumes, and you see her pretty much interact with this foster parent and try to steal like this relic. Now, this was alright, like I wasn't as intrigued in this, like the main storyline in this story. I more liked the whole interaction between her and Batman. I thought that was way better, but it was still an okay storyline. It was one of the weakest for me in the entire book, because I just wasn't really caught by it. I didn't really feel like interested in it. So overall, I would give the story a 6.5 out of 10. And yeah, guys, let's get to the seventh story in this book. Now, the seventh story in this book is called Born to Kill, and it's written by Chuck Dixon, and it's drawn by Kelly Jones. Now, guys, Kelly Jones, his art can turn off some people, but for me, I really like it. I really like that whole, it was a book, it came back like a year ago. I forgot the name of it, but it was like Batman versus Scarecrow. It's like a 6-issue miniseries. It's very simple, but it's very well done by Kelly Jones. The art was great there. But here, pretty much, you see Catwoman going on a heist, and she runs into Clayface. Now, Kelly Jones draws Clayface so well. Like, it's actually very frightening. It's really cool. And Catwoman actually looks good, too. She has one of her, like, very old costumes. I think it was actually one of her very first, or if her first costume in the story. And it looks really cool. The art is well done. The story is very simple and quick, but it's very intriguing at the same time. So I really like that. And yeah, overall, this story, it's not one of the best. It's kind of middle of the road, but it's pretty solid. And I actually like seeing Kelly Jones doing stories and all these like different anniversaries. Like, yeah, I think he has a story in Detective Comics, which was really good with like Jeff Johns. And he has a good story here with Catwoman. And if he has a story in like the Joker 80th anniversary coming up, I'd be fine with it, because he does great with these stories. So overall, I'll give this story an 8 out of 10. Now, the 8th story is called Conventional Wisdom. And guys, this is actually probably my favorite story in the entire book. I really like this one, because the meta commentary in the story is really cool. I really like it. Because you see Selena, she shows up to like a BatCon, and she's on this panel with Batman, Joker, and Batman's like, oh, all these fans are asking, oh, you remember the very first time you guys interacted? You have the famous line of Batman's like, hey, don't move or pop a spank, or something like that. But it was very hilarious, and you have references like Infinite Crisis, 0 Hour, Identity Crisis, and it's very interesting. You see pretty much Catwoman try to figure out what's going on here, because she sees like this one guy who's like pretty much knocked out or killed in all these different situations at this BatCon. And it turns out that Dr. Destiny actually did this. And at the end, how the twist goes is she figures this out and she beats up Dr. Destiny and she actually wins. It's actually very cool. And guys, I really like Dr. Destiny. Like, my favorite version of him was in the Sandman comic. Like, when that was a very dark comic. When Dr. Destiny was in there, it was like one issue where he manipulated all these people, but it shows that Selena doesn't get manipulated so easily. She can get out of situations like this. It's very cool. And guys, the artwork here is very good too. Like, the artwork conveys it very well. It actually reminds me of like artwork from like the Doom Patrol book that just came out. It was actually a really good Doom Patrol comic, but it's that artwork that really like conveys weird storylines, and this is one of them. So yeah, this is actually probably my favorite one, and I give this story a 9 out of 10. It was amazing. I really liked it. The Meg commentary really elevates it. But yeah, guys, let's get to the final 2 storylines in this book. Yeah, guys, the 9th story in this book is actually written by Ram V. It's called Addicted Trouble, and you see Selena pretty much with her sister Maggie and find out guys at bars, getting away from the cops, going through all sorts of trouble. And at the end, she talks to like a guy who's like, oh, you plan on lying low from now on, right? And she's like, she pretty much hints that no, she's not. And she's going to do some more trouble in Catwoman 25. Which the writer of the story, Ram V, he's pretty much going to be taking up like the Catwoman series at issue number 25. So this story pretty much sets up that. But I don't say it sets it up very well. Like, the art is okay, it's not great art. Like, I'm not a big fan of the art. It conveys it like well enough, but it's nothing like really amazing. And the writing's like kind of all over the place. It's not really interesting. and I am a big fan of it, so I don't even know if I'll be reading the Catwoman series in issue number 25, because this story didn't really sell me on it. I feel like it's one of the weaker ones in this entire book, and that's why I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's okay, it's not terrible, but it's very forgettable to me. Now, the final story in this entire book is called The Art of Picking a Lock. It's written by Ed Brubaker, which is actually a really good Catwoman writer. He's done some great comics with her, and you see Selena pretty much team up with Holly Robinson to save Slam Bradley. Now, if you know that character, he's a pretty cool character. He's actually one of my favorite characters that's actually been in Catwoman comics. But you see him fight off against Joker gangs, pretty much. And it's pretty much people under the Joker that have Joker masks, they fight him off, you have a lot of good action sequences. Like, the art in here is really good. It's actually probably some of the best art in the entire comic. Like, my favorite artist on this book is obviously Michael Jan, and Kelly Jones is pretty cool too. But the art here is just really good. It's simple type art, but like the style of it really conveys the story very well, and it fits it well too. So I really like that. It was a quick story. Well, like, it had a lot of pages, but it felt quick, which is good because it's a lot of action. The story's cool, and the reveal that they're saving Slam Bradley at the end was a great way to end the issue, and a great way to like end this entire anniversary. Like, it was really cool, and that's why I'm gonna give this issue 8.5 out of 10. So yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. But yeah, guys, with all like the hit or misses in this entire book, I think this was a solid anniversary, pretty much issue for Catwoman. Like, I really liked the Robin one. Like, that was a great one. The Detective Comics number 1000 and Action Comics number 1000. Obviously, those are great too. Like, those had to be great. But this one is pretty much DC's trying to push these 8th anniversaries more, and I was kind of worried because I was like, all right, if you make all these different anniversaries for all these different characters, it'll come not really special anymore. But this book still maintains that special quality, which is really good. Now, obviously, there's some hit or misses here and there. Like, some of the stories are boring and forgettable, but there's no like terrible stories that made me be like, really, why is this in here? But still, there's some amazing stories too. Like, I actually really like the Tom King one. I really like the Conventional Wisdom one where she's at like a BatCon in the Meg commentary there. That's my favorite one. And then the Kelly Jones one was good. The Liam Sharp one, even though it was short, was really good too. But yeah, guys, if you're a big Catwoman fan and you just want a lot of Catwoman content with like some boring stories in between, but a lot of great ones too, then check out this book. I do recommend it. And that's why I'm going to give this entire anniversary issue an 8 out of 10. It's solid. I recommend. You guys should go check it out. And I may be reviewing the Catwoman series. Probably not, because pretty much Joel Jones's run is ending soon, and pretty much Ram V will jump beyond issue number 25. And as you guys watch me reviewing this video, the Ram V storyline, which is like the 9th one, Addicted to Trouble, which sets up that story coming up, was not really interesting to me. So I don't think I'll be jumping on board with that. But yeah, guys, in the comments below, tell me what you thought about this entire anniversary issue. What's your favorite story? Mine is the Conventional Wisdom one, where she's at like a BatCon. But I'd like to know your guys's. And if you like the video, give a big thumbs up on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe so this is my next anniversary pretty much review. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and peace out.